consumers are expecting to use.
Yeah. And it comes to my mind two things. First, it means that we need to run all the time. And technology is changing so fast and we need to reinvent our businesses all the time. So it's really fast growing and fast changing. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And second is like, what do you think would be the future that you would like to see if we're saying that everything is gonna go like more consumer centered, faster growing, technology related? What do you think?
Well, first on the technology piece, I think it's not necessarily always about running and trying to catch up or keep up with whatever the new technology is. It's about understanding that there is technology that is already out there that can foundationally help you stay ahead. For example, just the cloud, Google Cloud, AI in some capacity, technologies like APIs, which allow you to adapt your technologies as they change, right? So I can foundationally set up APIs, Google Cloud, data services, storage capabilities, and then as technology changes, I don't have to try to keep up with it. I just adjust what I already have in place. That's what Google Cloud is here to help with, right? Is you can have the technologies in place. We make the changes, and then you get the benefits of those changes in real time,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So those types of decisions, I think, are critical as you're picking out what kind of technologies you want to use. It's not to say things like, oh, I'm hearing a lot about the metaverse. I'm going to invest a lot of stuff in the metaverse.
Yeah,
That's the wrong way to think about it.
yeah.
You've
NFT,
got to,
Bitcoin.
yeah, don't try to
Yeah,
bring in the technology that is going to be the next big thing. Build the foundational, the technologies that are going to allow you to get to the next big thing when it comes, right?
yeah,
So that's that. As far as where I think things are going, it goes back to this multi-industry type of perspective. And if we think about consumer journeys, those consumer journeys are going to get more advanced as different industries are sharing data across different platforms. So I often will use an example of if you go on a trip, if you take a vacation or a business trip, there are any number of different types of applications you currently use today to make that trip happen. You're going to book a flight potentially. And so you have the airline app. You've got to book a hotel room. So you have the hotel room app. You might need a taxi or an Uber. So you have the driving app that takes you from the airport to the hotel. You might want dinner reservations. And so you've got an app that handles dinner reservations and so on and so on. The phrase of there's an app for that is relevant because we've got so many apps for so many different things that we do throughout our day. So
right.
in this travel example, I'm using multiple apps to complete an entire journey. But for us as consumers, the journey is one thing. I'm taking a trip. So we have to start asking ourselves, why is it that I have to connect to all of these different apps and remember all of these different accounts and all these different passwords and create all these different profiles and contribute to all of these different processes for just the one thing I'm doing, taking a trip? And if we think about as these connected industries, as a consumer, I should be able to book a trip in one app in theory. And I know there's apps out there that will allow you to do this, but I should be able to connect the dots between these different steps. For instance, uh, when I land at the airport, wherever I'm at, why can't the Uber driver already know that I'm landed and start making their way to pick me up? Right. Or the Uber driver should already know what hotel I'm going to because it's integrated into my trip itinerary, right? And these connections between different experiences to create one seamless customer journey, I think is a big part of where we're going to be in the future. And we can apply this concept across everything we do, from going to work to seeing a movie to grocery shopping to everything. We're so focused on the experience at the level where I'm at. So when I go when I go to the grocery store, there's an experience at the grocery store, but we know that there's things that we're doing before and after that. For instance, I'm creating a list of the things I need at the grocery store. I'm thinking about my dinner and plans for the rest of the week. I'm budgeting. What do I want to spend at the grocery store? And then I go to the grocery store. And then afterwards, I'm thinking about, okay, now what meal am I going to have? And what is the recipe? And who's coming to dinner? And who's going to be here for the night? And what music am I going to listen to while I eat dinner? And those connective experiences between building out my shopping list to shopping to listening to music while I cook dinner with the recipe, that complete experience is the interconnection that I think we're going to get to. And I think that will be fabulous because us, again, as users and consumers, are going to have this incredible immersive experience throughout multiple applications and through multiple processes in that journey.
And do you think it will be like business wise, it will be one company or companies joining forces in order to provide me this overarching experience?
Yeah, I think it's going to be shared relationships between the companies, like an ecosystem, where the ecosystem expands beyond the borders of their premise. So a grocery store typically deals with all of the data within that grocery store. But now, how can that grocery store begin to share that data and those experiences with partners across a larger ecosystem so that you can create those connection points to make those journeys more complete?
I see. Okay, I have so many questions, but there is one I wanted to really, before we are going forward, about failures. So we know that failures are really important, but why is it so important for someone doing innovation, not only for someone growing from an experience that he adjusted to?
Well, if we go all the way back to the beginning of the conversation, the light bulb probably blew out. And I'm sure somebody who's listening might actually be able to wiki this or look it up, but
Mhm.
it failed multiple times. The failure influenced learnings to see, well, we should try this now, or, well, let's not do that again, right? Failures are an essential component of innovation. You have to be able to fail. No one is going to wake up one morning with a brilliant idea, build that idea, and launch that idea, and it be a massive success. Just doesn't work that way. You have to try, fail, learn, adapt, and then try again. And that evolution of failing and learning from those failures ultimately helps you get to a better product. If we go all the way back to Gmail as an example, Gmail has gone through hundreds of iterations over the years. And now we're at a point where we can come up with new features and new ideas. But heck, we could come up with a new feature today and it wouldn't be successful, potentially would not be successful. There's a lot that goes into that, and understanding what consumers want or don't want, and analyzing the data as we talked about. So you've got to be able to embrace that we're not going to get it right the first time. There is potential for failure. We accept that failure. We're not going to say, "Hey, you came up with this idea and it sucked. You're fired." Like,
Yeah.
we don't do that, right? We embrace the ideas and the concepts and the effort, and then we learn from those mistakes, failures, and grow the product to be better.